I'm Priya Iyer.
Tom Newman.
Dave Mefford.
Lily Diego.
Pierre Roberson.
And we're going to be presenting the old Kmart headquarters site in Troy, Michigan.
The intent of this project is to determine whether or not the city of Troy's master plan of creating a mixed-use urban development on our site is feasible. If being able to determine if the surrounding community can withstand a luxury development, and if we can then increase density to the area to help it happen.
Okay, just a quick overview of the site. It's 3100 West Big Beaver Road in Troy, Michigan. We're adjacent to the Somerset Collection. How do you get to that? I'm sorry. Okay. We're adjacent to the Somerset Collection. On the site, you have 6 vehicular access points. One interesting thing on the site is that for retail, this will be a good location as far as visibility at the intersection of Big Beaver and Coolidge Highway. Also, there's a road that runs around the rear of the site, Cunningham Drive, which acts as a secondary vehicular circulation. The site is 40 acres. It was purchased by the Forbes Company in January of this year for $14 million, and it's a planned unit development. Go to the next slide. Just some advantages and disadvantages of the site here. In the existing condition, some of the disadvantages basically lie within the design itself. There isn't any integration within the design. You have parking on one side of the site, and then the building of the old Kmart Headquarters on the opposite side. And in between the two, you have a pedestrian path, an extremely long pedestrian path there. The architecture of the building will make it difficult to lease tenant space. Some of the positives of the site, again, we talked about the visibility here at this location for retail, and also this ring road that runs around the rear of the site creates a loop and also connects with the adjacent Somerset Mall.
So the local demographics of Troy indicate that we have an affluent, educated community. Sometimes shows that population and household growth will increase within the next 5 years, spiking in the next 15 to 20. Hoping to bring more density and, of course, more viability to the site. The economics show within the Tri-County area that the median trade income within this 15-mile radius is about $115,000. The median household income for the area is $49,000, but within Troy itself, it's at $84,000. So with the sociographics in a 5-mile radius between the cities of Troy, Bloomfield, Birmingham, Huntington Woods, and Royal Oak, Troy sits at a primarily married Caucasian household that have been in their homes for more than 5 years. We are looking at Troy as the second in household income to Bloomfield Hills. Again, they are mainly educated with more than a four-year college degree and primarily professional occupation. The City of Troy commissioned the Downtown Development Authority to do a study along the Big Beaver corridor, trying to determine how we can make it into a world-class boulevard. They specifically proposed that our site here is a mixed-use urban development. That would be what its best use would be for. Through their traffic studies, we see that here at this is the site of Kmart. This major intersection of Big Beaver and Coolidge shows that there's a flux of vehicular traffic that is very similar to Woodward in the Triangle District. So you're looking at a flux of cars close to 70,000 cars, very much like how Woodward would run. At the lowest point, depending on the time of day, it goes to about 40,000 cars. Pedestrian traffic right now is not very good existing as it is. However, with the mixed-use development that they propose in this area, they're hoping to kind of create more of an urban plan, more of a walkability within that area. Within the competition within the area, we do have some hotels that exist. They are not within mixed use. They are isolated hotels, not of a luxury caliber. There are shopping malls. Obviously, the Somerset Collection is a luxury mall that is synergistic to the site. And there are specialty grocers, Whole Foods exists. about a mile away. And there are no movie theaters, and there are some sports facilities and gyms, again, isolated, sporadic down the Big Beaver corridor.
So our goal in this proposition is to create that downtown feel for a suburban center like Troy. And to do that, we've decided to break the site up into near city blocks, roughly 500 feet square. And this also provides us good access off Big Beaver Road in Coolidge. So, in general, the parking decks are situated at the two corners of the site, and we've pulled our major anchors to the far corners to get a good draw, a good visibility, and to bring people through the different smaller retail aspects of the site as they're doing their major business, their shopping. We've broken the area up into 3 districts. This would be the main retail aspect of it. Specialty retail would be merchandise towards whatever the anchor ended up being. If it was a Dick's Sporting Goods, then we would try to fit that criteria. Then an entertainment district with possibly nightclub, bars, restaurants, movie theater, which is lacking in the area, and then the actual neighborhood district, which would be situated in our residential area, which would consist of grocery, convenience shops. For the people in this area, people in the residential developments here, but also the wider suburbs. Essentially the same diagram. We're just looking at the breakdown now. In our entertainment district, a bookstore, for people waiting for movies, restaurants, nightclub, maybe bowling alley, similar to a Lucky Strike. A specialty grocer, Whole Foods, with a good connection to the neighborhoods to the north of the site, and then primary multifamily residential in this area. This would be one of our main anchors here, and the idea of giving them this site here is because they'll have prominence on this main street.
Mike, can you pull that shade down?
It's not that one. I'm just getting some glare on the.
But the idea of bringing one of our major anchors to the back here is because they will have the sight lines from Coolidge and Big Beaver, and draw more people in. Parking is situated.
So who would you propose that anchor to be?
We were thinking about it.
Oh?
We were thinking about it, and merchandising-wise, to compete with Somerset would be illogical. So
We
maybe
have Saks, Neiman's, Nordstrom's, and Macy's there.
right. So we're
Who would you
thinking.
put in there to go against that?
Well, it could be,
Who?
after our last presentation, one of the things we were talking about is where this center would kind of market itself in the overall context of the Big Beaver corridor. And, somebody had thrown out the idea of maybe a JCPenney or something like that, which I don't think you're really too enthused about. But, there's other Parisian,
We have
possibly.
JCPenney already in the 14-mile road shopping center.
An IKEA or an IKEA kind of
What?
an IKEA, a big box store that
IKEA.
Great
Something
indoors.
like
That's
an
not an
IKEA.
department store. That's a...
Well, like a great indoors,
Yeah, but
possibly.
you don't have enough
sports.
space there for IKEA anyway.
Maybe a Von Maur.
IKEA needs a footprint of over 100,000 feet. You don't have it there. You got what?
There's about 120,000 square feet over
What?
2 levels. That's why about
That
120,000
block
square feet.
is what?
This
No.
is 2 levels at about 60,000 square feet per.
Oh, well.
So 120,000 square feet over.
Yeah,
2.
but that's not, they wouldn't take it on that.
Yeah,
It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Forget IKEA there.
yeah, maybe
I
Von
mean,
Maur.
not only that, you couldn't afford them. You couldn't afford them. They pay very, very low rent. And basically, they want to own their own stores anyway. That's why they go out. They like to be out in the boonies all by themselves. That's where they like it. So anyway, it's a very good tenant, and it would be a good idea, but it does. You'd practically use up your whole site for it. That's what not.
Yeah, well, perhaps a great indoors or Parisian, somebody underrepresented in this area. A tenant underrepresented in this area.
Parisian can't hold up against Nordstrom's and Macy's. So they're not strong enough.
Von Mauer? Von Mauer?
The traditional language.
I'm just trying to know. I like the idea. I mean, you need it to draw against Somerset. I mean, it's a competitive business.
Right, and we are trying
Why
to
is the
merchandise.
customer going to come here instead of going to Somerset? That's the question.
We're going to offer an alternative, possibly slightly lower end, not necessarily low end, but not the highest of the high end merchandising.
I don't think it's going to work.
Doesn't Forbes own Somerset?
Yeah.
And they also,
And Forbes owns this property.
Yes, they own it.
So
They bought it to protect.
I mean, we're not proposing this to the Topman Company.
No,
Actually, in
no,
this case,
I
we're proposing this to Forbes.
Wow.
So why would Forbes want to compete against itself?
Yeah.
I mean, no, I mean, seriously.
Forbes bought it to make sure that no retail goes out there.
Exactly. But I mean,
They don't want any big boxes. That's what
Somerset is a huge proposition in its own right. Why are we doing something to compete with it? Why don't we do something that plays
Different.
that plays into Somerset,
Yeah.
that utilizes the fact that Somerset's there?
Yeah.
We wanted it to be synergistic and complementary and not
You want it
competitive. We wanted it to be synergistic and not competitive. So we didn't want to necessarily draw clientele away from Somerset, but actually just have them have it now a 24 activity. Somerset closes at 8 o'clock, whereas this lifestyle district it continues past those hours. They have at the theater, the bowling alley, the restaurants, those bars. Hopefully we'll draw the individuals who are shopping at Somerset towards those entertainment cores, and then still have inline retail that they can kind of cruise as they're there. Now, it's more of the urban district versus the interior section of the mall.
Well, I like the idea of the office buildings, because you have office buildings across Cunningham there, and they do well there. It's strong office market, and I think the mid-rise residential is good.
When you get to the bottom line, is your only problem the department store?
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think
I just
there's
wanted to cut
anybody
to the
that's going to go in like
chase
that.
here.
I don't know. They may invent somebody, but I don't know who they are.
Does it make sense to bring in people like the residential and office workers who will shop at Somerset?
Well, that's right. That would be one of the
It's
big.
complementary use.
I mean, the people living there would be like living downtown.
Now one of
They'd
the
have all
questions.
the amenities of food and retail specialties without having to get out of their car. They could just walk across the street. So there's a big. I mean, I wouldn't, if it were my choice, I wouldn't do a lot of residential there. I think there's a place for restaurants. And but it's basically office and residential, mid-rise, perhaps one high-rise, and because the market is here, there's a great office market here.
Does the hotel make sense here?
What?
Does the hotel make sense here?
Yeah, perhaps. You have two Marriotts, one north here about 4 miles, and one south here about 2 miles. There's two Marriotts there. There's a possibility. There's a Hilton, isn't there, up on 75?
Yeah, I think so.
Hilton, I don't know. I mean, the question is.
I agree with Mr. Talbot. I agree with you. A better hotel when the time is right.
Yeah, I'd like a hotel. I like a hotel as part of the mix. But there is a hotel there, down the street, not a very good one.
That's right.
Down the street here on this side, on the south side of the street.
Drury.
Yeah, there's a hotel there. It's not a very good hotel.
Did you run any of the numbers
But
on that?
and the market could take it.
Yeah.
You'd have to build a hotel that would be competitive with the Townsend. The Townsend's the only one that's a rated hotel in this area.
Section. Want to go back to section?
Well, I mean, in the section, basically, we're just showing the different levels, how the density packs up. And if we have the opportunity to make a proposal to Troy, we figure we might as well bring up the density. So basically, we plan on phasing most of this in, bringing the retail parking and the signature office building in, and then infilling the rest as the need grows. Shared parking with the office buildings, obviously we can make a big discount there.
All right.
I think you had your discussion. Anyone else have anything to say?
Thank you. I think you did a good plan, and I think it was. I think you're off on the direction. That's all. Because you build it around a department store. Aren't any?
Yeah.
Federated owns them all. And